Oh yes, I'm about to piss 3 of you off, and that's okay. I made this video with full awareness of the consequences, but some things need to be addressed. Taking you back to 2022, when Nikke's release was getting closer and the hype was building sky high. 'Twas the eve of the release, and the community was shown something incredible. Streamers reacted. VTubers, parents, Indonesians, Genshin fans, all were in awe of what they saw. But little did they know that this particular character, as hot as she is, was a total bitch. This is the tragic story of Volume. At first glance, it makes sense. She had the perfect design to get the target audience clicking. With features like these, it's no wonder why she became a sensation overnight. But with the game's full release, the target audience quickly found out that her physical features were really the only thing keeping her popularity afloat, at least at the time. Turns out, Kanye Breast had a massive ego coupled with an attitude that very few took fancy to. This ego came from the ability to get on stage and perform at a top level with very little effort. Yeah, she's good at what she does. The ego is further amplified with how she views those around her. She doesn't care. She cares little about what others think of her. It's why she abuses her staff or fans. They're all just in the way. She's trashy, disrespectful, even physically abusive, doesn't matter. All that matters is herself and her music. It also doesn't help that she doesn't have any real friends. Prima Donna is just the group she was assigned to, meaning that she isn't necessarily friends with them. So of course someone with a massive ego has no family or friends or any positive relationship, severely lacks interpersonal skills, and is just a big jerk. Eventually the commander comes into play. Rises Christ himself appears on the board and makes his move. Obviously, he is successful in the end, but the success came from various degrees of discomfort. At first, she didn't care about us either, which is totally fine. But as with everyone else trying to help, she too treated us like trash.
Hey, Millie Bass here with something you need. Not a gimmick, not a joke, this is sleep you can feel. Lonely Pillow, it's more than a name, it's a promise. To your door, they deliver honest. Full-size, double-sided, no cheap stuff. Two-way tricot built to be tough. Guilty's got that grip that won't let go. Rouge deals cards with the smirk and a show. Noise, she hums, and close, hit the flow. Singing sweet, nothing's till you're back for more. And don't just take it from me. Affordable, fast, quick replies, customer service, class. But hold up, you know it's coming, right? Ready, still in the oven, almost ready. Warm light, just enough spice. And when she drops, she's got in a slice. Lonely Pillow, high quality, high demand, no fluff. Order now while snuggles last.
One argument in favor of Volume is that she is tough like this because that's how she has to be in this industry. You can't be a pushover and get to where she is without some unnecessary roughness. After all, it's a music scene that treats women as an overly sexualized disposable commodity. The argument about her being tough, however, is debunked by her own teammates. Noise is equally as successful, and she doesn't have to be an asshole. Nobody knows who this character is, but I assure you, she too did not rely on hurting those around her to find success. It makes me wish they dived deeper into the issues with the industry, specifically Volume's industry, so that we could have gotten a better grasp of her situation. There could have been a stronger backstory to support her reasoning behind being a total jerk. What was her mentality like when she realized how brutal the landscape was? What events forced her into a corner of narcissism? Consider this next argument in favor of her attitude. She sucks, yeah. But wouldn't it be boring if every character had the same personality? First of all, what in the dog's dookie are you talking about? Yes, she's different, but take out her attitude and overall terrible personality, and you still have a template that's loads different from all other Nikkes. A superstar rapper Nikke who's struggling with herself in a harsh industry is already a great start. Yet, secondly, you are right. We want her to be different. We want every Nikke to be different. Pro is very unpopular, but she was made out to be a pretty damn good villain with plenty of explanation. Some would think Best Girl Cinderella is a narcissist with how obsessed she is with her own physical appearance, but this is not the case. In fact, you learn it's quite the opposite. If the writer's goal was to make Volume an unlikable character in almost every way with little reasoning, then that's okay. But that's the end of that. She's not a villain for the story, nor does she do anything for any part of the main story. She was built to be hated and forgotten, which is the worst thing a playable character can be in a monetized gacha game. We'll come back to that later. Volume has recently appeared in Ice Dragon Saga as a bard with a super toned down attitude of her original. Sure, she still smashed her guitar against the floorboards and caused a bit of a ruckus, but it was shown in a more positive light, which emphasized her role in the story. A laid-back comic relief character. Vesti even highlights how nice of a person Volume is, which gave me the impression. It's almost as if Shift Up took notice of her unpopularity and drastically shifted her personality, hoping people wouldn't notice or even care. True, the world is a simulation, but all featured Nikkes have generally the same personalities. Only Volume is substantially different. She's kind, funny, and very helpful. Is that what you would call character development? I guess, but where's the bridge to connect the two? Kind of reminds me of Sin's spontaneous character evolution, you know? Was this the Volume that the creators originally envisioned, or is it a result of the backlash from the community? With how popular Noise is in comparison, something tells me it's the latter. Here's another interesting argument I found. Volume isn't popular not because she's an asshole, but because she hasn't contributed to the story in any meaningful way. Combine that with her controversial Bond story, and you essentially have a dead character. Sound argument, especially compared to Eunhwa, who was also initially disliked, but after a tremendous amount of story development, she's now on the list for most wanted overspecs. I still think Volume's Bond story shot a few too many holes in the barrel. Like, it was just that bad. It completely killed off interest for too many people, to the point of fans making social media posts complaining about her. Look at Noise. With just a couple of appearances and side stories, albeit one of them having her kiss the commander, she was one of the first adopters of the gacha skin, meaning early on the devs had the data and banked on her popularity. You don't see that for Volume, even though she was the chosen one. Back to the Eunhwa comparison. She had the privilege of being in the same squad as our main heroine, Rappy. Absolute was destined to be a significant part of the story and gain popularity over time, thus leading to proper character development and building rapport with the player. But what about our red-headed rapper? She's certainly not paramount to the story, so if the community doesn't like her, the devs can simply treat it like a write-off. Oh, you don't like Volume? No problem. Here's 2 skins for Noise. Volume's unfortunate downfall can be boiled down to this. Interesting concept, poor execution. There should have been a stronger emphasis on the brutality of the entertainment industry, specifically rapping as a female. She could have explained how nobody likes a timid rapper in the business. Fans like the ego, the confidence, the flashiness. Her lyrics also needed to reflect that personality, even if it wasn't her true self. Yet seeing herself in such a miserable state, she learns that nobody likes a total jerk either. You'll never have real friends that way, just people who want to exploit you to get back at you. Then through trial, she learns to stand up for herself without being an asshole. She begins to understand that teamwork and mutual trust are more beneficial than the opposite. Bad staff treatment only makes things worse and feeds the cycle of contempt. She regains her confidence and ego, but her tough relationship with the industry becomes healthier. Finally, at the conclusion, it would have neatly tied itself to Anisa's situation, since she too struggles in that industry. Indeed, Volume was a character that really needed help from the team to expand her personality and the reasons behind her decisions. She didn't understand how to handle her immense fame, so she let it go to her head. She used any means necessary to be at the top and stay there. Being at the top wasn't just for the money, but the performance itself. To feel like she meant something. She's a Nikke after all. How useful is she if not fighting out there in the front lines or being a tool? for entertainment. At the very least, I hope they give her story another chance. Again, it was and still is an interesting concept. She was behind literally the blow-up of Nikke's initial fame. The famous showcase of her fanny physics will never be forgotten by any veteran, but neither should her story. There is plenty to work with to make Nikke Minaj the superstar she was truly destined to be. Before you go, let me express my appreciation to the channel supporters. Holy mama, you guys are awesome. Really appreciate the support. And for the rest of you, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.